morning. Well, I'm Clare Hanmer from the Carbon Trust, and Skye and I are doing a double act presentation on the European context for marine energy, and in particular the SI Ocean project that we're both working on. I think we can be very proud of what's happened in the UK in terms of development of marine energy, but of course we're not the only country with good marine resources in Europe. And these two maps show how there's actually good wave resources across the whole of the Atlantic arc, from countries from Portugal and Spain stretching up to Scandinavia, and also a variety of tidal resource across the continent. The SI Ocean project is funded by Intelligent Energy Europe, and we've been tasked to build building blocks towards a European strategy for wave and tidal energy, and looking at progress towards commercialisation. Now, I've talked about resource, but of course the other side of the picture is the supply chain, and of course that has a European dimension as well. We've taken this picture from European Ocean Energy's vision paper. It's a good example both of the success in Scotland at the moment. EMEC, it shows the various device developers who've been working at EMEC and how they come from many different countries across Europe and beyond. But it also emphasises that this is by no means just a UK picture. There are companies in the supply chain across Europe, and they should be part of an overall European strategy.
Good morning, everybody. Part 2 of the double act here. So the Strategic Initiative for Ocean Energy talks to a wide range of stakeholders. We're trying to achieve collaboration across 3 key groups. First and foremost, industry. We're trying to increase collaboration and cooperation amongst technology developers, project developers, to encourage the development of a marine energy supply chain. We're also trying to encourage greater cooperation and collaboration at a government level. So that's domestically within the various layers of government that have responsibility for marine energy, which in some parts of Europe, some government departments don't even know who their counterparts are in the other government departments that are working on wave and tidal energy. So there's quite a lot of challenges there. And then also cooperation between member states. We're trying to build this pan-European approach to help drive the commercialisation of this industry. And then at the non-government level, we want to talk specifically to the finance sector. We want to attract investment. We want to talk to non-profit organisations. And of course, we're talking to the other European projects that Intelligent Energy Europe is funding. That's our key funder. It's very important that we don't duplicate efforts that are already out there. Some of you may be aware that there's quite a lot of European projects looking at ocean energy, and we certainly don't want to be wasting anybody's time. So the session is called State of Play. This is where we are in Europe. We do have 3 key challenges for commercialising this sector, and these challenges have been showcased quite recently in a vision paper that has been developed for the industry by the European Ocean Energy Association. It was launched in the European Parliament about a month ago now, I think. And the paper very succinctly outlines these 3 key challenges. So obviously we know that the sector needs cash, quite a lot of cash. And it needs to be a good balance of government and private finance, obviously capital funds from government to push technology development, revenue support to provide a strong market signal that these member states are open for business, and then obviously equity from the private sector. And I should also add that the EU OEA is leading this project, needed to get that in. And this vision paper has actually estimated that over the last 7 years, industry has invested in the order of 600 million euros into ocean energy, and the European Commission has contributed about 140 million euros. So you would have seen in the previous presentations that there's some European funding programs coming up, Horizon 2020 and the NER 300 funding, obviously. We really need to look at where we can access those funds. Just quickly, obviously we need to advance the technology, which Claire will speak about in a moment, and this project pipeline is really key. developers need policy certainty that the money they're investing is actually going to come to something. A consenting regime, Marine Scotland is by far the leader in Europe for a very efficient marine consenting, and obviously we need enabling infrastructure. The Scottish and the UK governments have by far been leading in Europe, we know that. France is coming up in the rear. It's becoming quite an interesting two-horse race, I must say. But obviously there is a lot of potential in Spain and Portugal, as well as Denmark and Ireland, which are the other partners of this, the other focus countries. So just very briefly, this is the project, 3 key components. We're looking at resource based on previous EU projects. We know where the high resource areas are, basically hugging the Atlantic coastline. You'll hear this phrase, the Atlantic arc. And as I said, focusing on these, I don't think I've actually named the 6 countries that the project's focused on, I'm sorry. It's Denmark, France, Ireland, Portugal, Spain, and the UK. But obviously, the supply chain spreads all the way across Europe. Technology, which the Carbon Trust is looking at, and Renewable UK, who are doing the policy and market analysis. And now Claire's going to talk about technology.
Yes, so just to give a brief overview of the work we're doing on the technology work stream of this project, where the Carbon Trust are working with University of Edinburgh, the Wave Energy Centre from Portugal, and the JRC. So the work so far, we've been looking at the current state of art and the technology challenges faced by developers. We've done quite a number of in-depth interviews of developers at various stages of technology development, talked to utilities in the supply chain as well, and pulling together information on the technology challenges that are being faced. But we're also been looking at the cost of energy in a European context and updating work that the Carbon Trust and others have done in the past on cost of energy for from ocean energy, based on the latest information and looking a bit wider than just the UK context. And in terms of technology challenges, you can turn that round the other way and say, well, these challenges, if we can find solutions, that's an opportunity to bring the cost down. And I think Jan already showed some graphs showing if we can get the learning going on and improvements on the technology, the news in the future about cost of energy looks much better. That's the stage we're at the moment, and the work we're doing through the next step is to talk to the industry and make sure that we prioritise what's coming out of the long list of different challenges and opportunities we've identified, make sure that we then take forward the key priorities from the industry's point of view to pull together to something that's called we're calling a strategic technology agenda for the sector that will form a key part of the strategy that's put forward by the SI Ocean project. And that feeds into the market deployment strategy, which Skye will be talking about in a moment. So far, it's very much work in progress. We're less than a year into a 2-year project, but we have published a couple of reports on the technology side, which are available on the SI Ocean website, one on the state of the art of the technology, the current technology status, and one on cost of energy and cost reduction opportunities has just been published.
Thank you. And on the policy and market side of the house, this was the first piece of work that Renewable UK engaged in. It looks at the policy landscape across these 6 EU countries and looks at the incentives governments have provided or potentially the gaps in the policy framework that need to be addressed. The work was revolved around 12 interviews that I did with government representatives and people close to government who know what's going on. It is currently available on the EU OEA website, on the SI Ocean website, I should say. I'm currently making some final editing changes, so perhaps if you are interested, look in about 2-3 weeks' time when I've got my feet back under the desk. But this report provides the foundation for the market deployment strategy, which is one of the key pieces of work for the SI Ocean project. And it brings together all of the 3 components of the project. the resource work being done by the Danish Hydrological Institute, the technology work being done by the Carbon Trust and the University of Edinburgh. And the key objective really is to stimulate market confidence and to guide where funding can be coordinated across the sector and across the EU. Obviously, we'll be making recommendations to both member states and also to the European Commission. That's what we've been tasked to do, to make policy recommendations. We will be identifying solutions to current market barriers. We'll provide production potentials, the size of the market opportunities and the location of the market opportunities. And we want the market deployment strategy to represent a united front of the industry so that we can present ourselves in Brussels and say, we are organised, this is where we're at, and this is what we need to help commercialise this sector, probably from the mid-2020s on to 2030. And I think that's it. I think that's us. So here's our website, the SA Ocean website. These are all of the partners, obviously being funded by Intelligent Energy Europe. And we'll leave it there. Thank you very much.